In this next example, we encounter an equation that contains decimals. Now, the traditional old math way to do this was to get rid of the decimals by multiplying equations by powers of 10, like 10, 100, and so on. And that's what, if you look at some of the homework, the textbook will kind of encourage you to do. But there's actually a better way to handle these, and that is, since we have technology at our disposal in the form of a calculator, we can just use the calculator to do the decimal arithmetic if we're uncomfortable with it. And so that's what I'm going to do here. Is I'm going to first notice that I have some like terms there on the right hand side of my equation, and then I'm just going to subtract 0.1 minus 0.9, which will be a negative 0.8x, and then nothing to do with the 47. Okay. And again, we just proceed to solve the equation as we normally would. We're just going to have to do our work with decimals here. So we want to get the x by itself, so we bring the 47 over by adding it to both sides. That gets me to 48 equals negative 0.8x. And now at this point, we just need to get x by itself, so we divide by what's being multiplied with it. So we have to divide by a decimal. Now in this particular example, 48 divided by negative 0.8 comes out evenly. You don't have a decimal left over, it's just negative 60. And that's our answer. That's our answer. And that's all well and good if that decimal comes out so that we don't have some decimal left over, particularly a repeating decimal, which could be kind of messy. So what I want to do is take a moment to explain how do you handle this step if the thing that's left over isn't a nice whole number answer like it is here. So we're going to take a little brief interlude. The interlude is titled Simplifying a Fraction Involving Decimals. So consider the following fraction here, 50.4 divided by 0.85. If you put that into a calculator, you're going to get a really ugly decimal answer. Now some calculators, some of the newer ones, have kind of been smartened up, and they'll actually be able to write out a fraction answer for that. But if not, we need to be able to manage it. And that's the one thing leaving the decimals in brings us to, is the possibility that we could have something like this, 50.4 divided by 0.85. So the idea here is we want the decimals to go away. And we're going to do that by moving the decimal points to eliminate the decimals from the problem. And so as we look at this problem, we have two decimal places in the bottom, one here in the top. So that means we have to get rid of two decimal places. So as I rewrite my answer here, I'm going to move the decimal point two places in the bottom and also move it two places in the top. Okay, so that we now get the fraction 50/40 divided by 85. Now some of the newer calculators could handle that fraction if you put it in fraction form and simplify your answer. Or here we can do it by hand, realizing that 50, 40, and 85, 5 goes into both of those. And so when I take 50, 40 divided by 5, I'm going to get 1008. 85 divided by 5 is 17. And so that way we can handle decimals when they come up as part of a fraction, which could happen when we're solving an equation.